Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope you're doing fantastic because I certainly am. And and I want to talk again a little bit more about Mandela effects because I think Mandela effects are fascinating. And one of the fascinating things about them that doesn't get mentioned a whole lot, and I've got to give Jason Brashears of the Archaics channel credit for at least bringing this to my attention, is that the really cool thing about Mandela effects is that there has not been not one recorded that I'm aware of, and I assume that Jason's aware of. There has never been a Mandela effect recorded that has ever been harmful to anyone. They've always just been kind of weird, right? Just kind of like, huh? Like the ones that I talk about, for example, on Star Wars, C3PO, the big android, right? I had the little action figure of C3PO when I was a kid. And knowing me, I probably strapped an M80 to him and blew him up at some point. I don't know. I don't know where my C3PO is. But anyway, one thing I know is C3PO, as I've said before, was gold from the top of his head to the bottom of both of his feet. However, now C3PO has a silver leg. And here's the fascinating part. If I could, and I'm certain I cannot, but if I could find that old action figure from when I was a kid of C3PO, his leg would now be silver. Even though I'm absolutely 100% certain it was gold when I was a kid. And that's the fascinating thing about Mandela effects. It's like there's a lot of people who are like, no, I clearly remember Darth Vader saying, Luke, I am your father. Or another big one is where, who is it? Anyway, said, mirror, mirror in Snow White, said, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, right? Well, she never said that. She never said, mirror, mirror on the wall. She says, magic mirror on the wall. And I'm like, that doesn't even sound right. It just doesn't. And a lot of people agree. In fact, there's a lot of people who aren't really into Mandela effects. Well, they're into that one. They just don't know it. Because if you ask them, what's that line in that movie or whatever, I mean, I don't know how you would pose it to them to kind of trick them, but kind of craft a way, if you want to put this to the test, kind of find a way to get someone to say, oh, yeah, that's mirror, mirror on the wall. It's kind of fascinating because they, just about everybody remembers it as that. Just like what Darth Vader said, Luke, I am your father. He didn't say, no, I am your father. That doesn't even sound right. But then again, magic mirror on the wall doesn't sound right either. Those are just two examples. I mean, there have been thousands of examples of Mandela effect. And the fascinating thing, as I was saying, is not one has ever been harmful to anyone. They've always just kind of been an oddity, just a little head scratcher, just weird. It's like, huh? No, I clearly remember this, and now it's that. And most people are like, I don't care what you say. That's how it was when I was a kid. Maybe this is how it is now, but when I was a kid, that's how it was. And then some people will be like, well, I'm going to go. I've still got the VHS tape and I've got a VCR. I'm going to go watch it. So they'll go get their Snow White movie and they'll put it in and wait till that part, or maybe they'll fast forward to that part. And what does she say? Magic mirror on the wall. She's like, and they're like, no way. There's no way. Because I clearly remember. And what it seems like is it is some people's thought. It seems as if this reality, our construct, has been edited. Now, some people, as I was about to say a second ago, some people believe that our reality, our universe or whatever, has merged with another one. Right? Meaning, here's ours. In ours, it says mirror, mirror on the wall. Here's this other one where it says magic mirror on the wall. And then somehow or other they merged. And now it's magic mirror. But we remember mirror, mirror. That's kind of how this goes. So what does Mandela Effects teach us is that this reality is programmable. It is changeable. As I've said, with the people who are really hardcore materialists, people who are really strictly, theory of relativity and everything and Big Bang and everything is just so. It's usually atheists and people and big science type people. But, okay. But they're always like, well, you spiritualist people, you can't prove any of that. I'm like, okay, fine, I can't prove it. It's like, but then again, there is Mandela effect. Yeah. I mean, it's like, what is that? All that shows us is that, okay, this reality is not as fixed. It's not as just stuck and solid as we are led to believe. But as I've said before, it's all about your perception. Because when we are immersed in this, it seems very real. Everything is very solid while we're in it. But what is but when we look at Mandela Effects, it's like, okay, if it were just a glitch, or if it were the timelines merging and things are slightly different in this one than this one, so when they come together, a few things are different. But if that were true, then I got to believe that at least a few Mandela effects could have possibly caused some harm to someone, could have been detrimental, right? Maybe a bridge going over something is in one reality is there, in another reality is not there. The two realities merge. Somebody remembers it being there, and then they come up on it, and it's like, oh, crap, the bridge isn't there. And they go over the edge, and, well, that would end in tragedy. But there's never been a Mandela effect like that. There's never been a Mandela effect that was harmful to anyone. And I got to believe that if it were just a glitch, or if it were a merging of timelines or merging of different sims, then at least something, at least once in a while, there would be one that was, oh gosh, that's not good. Right? Oh, wow, that's going to cause some harm. But there's not one. So that kind of leads me to believe, and I don't think I'm alone in this, that someone is on the outside of this. I mean, you could even say they're messing with us. I don't think so. I think the purpose is, I do believe that is someone on the outside of this that is making this little, just subtle little edits from Darth Vader saying, Luke, I am your father, to, he never said that. He only said, no, I am your father. Subtle little edits. Things that get our attention, but don't cause any harm. But it's things that get our attention and make us think, wait a minute, what's really going on here? Is this realm, is this realm really as editable, or is that even a word? Changeable? Is it really changeable? Can we really program it? Can we really change things? I mean, that shows change retroactively. Retrocausality, if you want to go there. That shows it's rather amazing. But it's like, well, what would be the purpose of a Mandela effect? The purpose would be to help us wake up. If you realize Mandela effects are a fairly new phenomenon. And as I've said before, time seems to be speeding up. Spiritual awakening seems to be ramping up. More people are beginning to awaken, and people are awakening at a much accelerated rate. Everything seems to be speeding up, coming to a head. And I got to believe that somebody on the outside of this who loves us is but can't really interfere, but kind of drop these little nuggets in, these little Mandela effects, these little, couple little things here and there, just enough to get your attention so that you say, this reality is not as fixed as I thought. It is very changeable. Because if it was completely fixed, then there would be no Mandela effects. There just wouldn't. Because what's done is done and that's it. It would be fixed. It would be in the field. It would be in the, just hard coded in. And that would be the end of it. But that's not the case. So someone who loves us is on the outside dropping these little nuggets so that we find them. And it makes us it gives us pause. And we're like, well, what does that mean? It means that this reality is not as it seems. This reality is very changeable. In fact, it is just illusion, and it can be reprogrammed. Little edits can be put in. And it's a lot of edits from movies to, I mean, so many. The Queen, We Are the Champions, at the end of the song, most people say that the music, the piano does a ding, 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 and the music stops, and then he says, of the world, right? That doesn't happen. If you find the song, the original recording of that song, it does not end with him saying of the world. That's another big one for a lot of people. But these are little things that are dropped in to get our attention, to let us know that that this reality is not what it seems. And I believe it's to help strengthen our resolve to awaken. It's to strengthen our resolve so that we realize, I'm not crazy. This place really is Maya. It really is illusion. This reality really is moldable. It's pliable. We can manifest in it. We can awaken. We can tune into our higher selves on the outside of this. It is really as if you have a higher self outside who is jacked into this avatar through your third eye, your pineal gland, which is right dead center of your brain, right in the middle. That's your pineal gland. Some people call it the seat of the soul. Some people call it the third eye. The pineal gland. And that's throughout all of history, like the Eye of Horus from ancient Egypt. The Eye of Horus appears to be a pineal gland that is kind of opened up. But I'm not going to get into that. But yes, it appears as though you are jacked into this avatar, and you are now able to, from first person point of view, see this reality, experience this reality. But something's coming because everything is speeding up. Everything is ramping up. More people are beginning to awaken, and a lot of people are beginning their awakening. And I understand that the pendulum swings and that does swing the other way, and that there are a lot of people who are falling deeper and deeper and deeper into their slumber. I'm aware of that. That's true. However, I'm also aware that there are lots more people awakening, and the rate at which they are awakening is accelerating. Something's about to happen, which leads me into reset theory. History has shown and I'm not going to get into it right now, but there are lots of examples throughout history of resets, of times when this construct, this realm seems to have just stopped, and maybe like a reboot on a computer, just wipe the slate clean, start over. What would be the purpose of that? To keep us from getting too far advanced, maybe to keep the archons and the elites from getting too powerful. Something I definitely want to get into very soon. But for now, I just wanted to point out how these Mandela effects, none of them are harmful. they do seem to be edits, what will be the purpose of them? Hey, here's a way for me to shamelessly plug for comments. Let me know what you think the purpose of Mandela Effects are. Now that, keeping in mind that if it was just a glitch, or if it was all the multiverses and sometimes they merge together, or timeline merges and things like that, if it were any of that, wouldn't there occasionally be one that's not good? Wouldn't there occasionally be one that's like, oh, that's going to leave a mark, right? I mean, wouldn't there occasionally be one that harmed someone? That's all. So anyway, dear loved ones, yes, please leave a comment. Let me know what you think of that. And if you have not liked this video yet, I would really appreciate it if you would do so and subscribe to this channel also. I really do appreciate it. And I do love you also, dear loved one. I truly do. And that's what I got for you. I gotta say that. No, that's part of my charm. That's what I got for you. I love you. I really do. And I'll be back directly.